What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about some safety precautions on your tube amp, how to properly turn it on and off to avoid damage, and a couple other things. Tip number 1. Before you turn your amp on, make sure you have a speaker cable plugged in. Otherwise, if your amp is on, it's going to short out your transformer, it's going to pop your power tubes, and your amp's power section is going to be junk. So after you plug your speaker cabinet to your amp, before you turn it on, you want to make sure it is on standby. Then put the power on and allow it to warm up. Some people recommend 15 seconds before you turn standby off. Sometimes people recommend 5 minutes, and sometimes even as much as 30. I'd say 10 minutes is a good bet to let your amp warm up. You don't want to play with the tubes cold. It's going to put some stress on them, and your tubes just aren't going to last as long. Another thing is, do not drop your amp. Solid state amps can handle that type of abuse, but tubes are fragile and the technology can't. If you have it on a 412, make sure it ain't going to fall. Make sure nobody bumps it. And if you're worried about it, buy an amp stand like I did. It's one of the best things I bought. It's going to protect my amp from falling. It's going to keep it where I can reach the knobs closer to me if I want my amp farther away on stage. Another tip for tube amp users is do not short out an instrument cable into the input. That's very hard on the tubes, and just don't do it. Just don't. Another tip is don't move your amp when it's hot. Your amp's going to be more fragile when it's hot, and it's going to be more susceptible to damage, so don't move it when it's hot. And along the lines, don't move it when it's hot. Don't turn your amp on unless the tubes and the amp have accustomed to the temperature and are the same temperature as the room, so you don't put any extra stress on the tubes than you have to do. Another thing with tube amps is do not skip maintenance. If you need power tubes, replace them before they go bad and take out your power supply. If you need capacitors, get them before your amp takes just shit on you and your power supply is junk. Another tip for your tube is don't travel with it where it's going to fly around in the back of a car or a truck. Put it where it's safe. It's not going to fly around when you stop, and that'll protect your amp. Tubes are really fragile. And one more tip to make your tube amp last longer is if you're not playing it, shut it off. Anytime you're leaving the amp on and you're not playing it, those are just precious hours and minutes and seconds that you're losing by keeping your tube amp. Not only are you wasting your power that you pay for, you're also losing the amount of time that you get to play with your tubes before they wear out. Tubes break in, they wear out, and with some of these tips, you can hopefully keep your tube amp in the best shape. Yeah, just avoid dropping it. Always use your standby switch appropriately. Let the amp adjust to temperature and all that good stuff. Yeah, you guys get the idea. Alright, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys later.